1960. Okay, late 1960 Les Paul. Some of you are going, wait, that's not a Les Paul, that's an SG. And you'd be mostly right. In 1960, Gibson realized that the Les Paul body style wasn't what everybody was looking for. They were looking for the slim, fat Fender guitars. So they wanted to do a little bit of catch-up and came up with Les Paul to this design, which is nice, flat, light body style, but with a tremendous amount of reach up the neck, which is something the Fenders didn't have. And they hoped this would kind of capture some of that market. And it did, I guess. It never really took off. And then around 1962, for various reasons, Les Paul decided that he didn't want his name associated with this guitar. So then it became the solid Gibson, or SG. But lots of luminaries have played the Les Paul and the SG variant. I kind of do this. Most notable, Mick Taylor when he was with the Stones. Eric Clapton when he was with Cream had one of these and he painted it all funny. This particular one has a rather interesting vibrato tailpiece. You're most likely used to going up and down like this. This one goes side to side. So and I guess it's kind of cool. I probably could get used to it. Note to self, don't practice while on camera. Okay, so it's kind of funky. Almost immediately thereafter they replaced it with the traditional Bigsby, and then Gibson developed what they thought was a good idea, the Maestro Vibrola. I always had problems with those when I was a kid. I haven't played with one lately, so I don't know if my technique is improved to where I'm a good enough player to play with the Maestro. We'll probably never know the answer to that one because I prefer the Bigsbys. But it's a great guitar. It has the slim taper neck, nice wide nut but thin this way so you can get a very good reach. I had personally an SG of 62 vintage that when I was a young lad I decided that it was more important for me to be married than to own that guitar, so I sold it to a buddy of mine. I had extracted a blood promise that he would sell it back to me at the time that he no longer wanted it, and then he sold it to somebody else. But they're amazing guitars, pretty broad palette. They're just a lot of fun.
Let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of these. I think they still make it today, and they always seem to be that color. Do they make them in any other colors?
They have, on occasion, made these guitars in white and in black. And for a while, they're in the 70s and 80s, they played with other colors. There's lots of variants of the SG. The original ones had the slim taper, wide neck that the 60 Les Paul was known for. Then around 65, somebody told Gibson that people wanted really thin necks or really narrow necks, and they went from almost 1 3/4 to 1 11/16. I can't play those necks personally. My fingers are too stubby. A lot of the SGs had that. They went to a full pick guard for a while. And then they did the special variants where they had the P90s, a la the most popular one I've known is the one Pete Townsend, or the model Pete Townsend broke on the Tommy Tour. I know that well because when he was doing the Tommy Tour, I actually owned the same model, although it had the skinny neck, so it went away soon. Great sounding guitars. An SG is definitely a welcome addition to anybody's arsenal. A lot of slide players like Derek Trucks. and I'm trying to think of who else. So you see SGs a lot in the slide world as well, because they have a little bit different tone because of the body's thinner, a little bit wider, it resonates differently, it has a little bit more pronounced mid-range peak, which, digging into my pocket, you know, here at the store a lot of people come in and says, can I try out that guitar? You know, I say, oh, sure. He says, you got a pick? And I'm thinking, what kind of guitar player walks around without a pick? You know, or without a slide? So it makes a great slide guitar. They're just fun. I have to admit it's not real high on my list of guitars to acquire. I've got my Strat, #1, my Les Paul, #2, my Telly's #3, my Gretsch's #4. Between those 4 styles of guitars, I can pretty much cover anything I need to. But if I could find another 62 SGs for say $200 or $300 like I sold mine for back in 1970, I'd definitely buy it.
Let me ask you one last question. We've talked about the inherent tone in an electric guitar. To me, these look like the same pickups and basically the same neck and tuners that you'd find on a Les Paul. But because of the body, I would assume that this plays different, sounds different.
Well, because of the way it sits, you get a different feel for playing, and the body definitely affects the tone. And I know some people are going, wait, isn't it all about the pickups? And I said, well, the pickups have something to do with it. But as I tell people, I advise them when they're looking for any guitar, and especially electric guitar, what's it sound like acoustically? Because that's the inherent tone that the pickups are going to capture and amplify. It's the way the strings resonate based on the body and neck and everything else. This guitar sounds great acoustically. So it'll have to sound actually pretty good electrically if the pickups are any good at all. I always tell people, if you don't like the way your electric guitar sounds plugged in, play it unplugged, and if you don't like that, get another guitar. If you do like the way it's unplugged, then you should consider replacement pickups. But if it doesn't sound good like this, there's no amount of money you can throw at it electrically to make it sound good. And yes, they're different. I diverse, you know, I digress here, but my Strats have Clapton Electronics, which is a mid-range boost. And what that does is it takes the single coil Strat style pickups and boosts the mid-range in the output so that sonically it's very difficult to tell the difference between my Strat and my Les Paul. To the point where I've listened to recordings I've made where I know I use both guitars doing a dual lead, and I've not been able to really tell which track was the Strat and which track was the Les Paul, because they both had a very similar tone quality. But the Les Paul with the shorter neck scale, 24.5 instead of 25 3/4 or whatever the Strat is, it's just that plays different. And with the Gibson Electronics, I have a volume for each pickup. So as I'm playing, I'm constantly changing my tone through my solo. Which you can't do with a Strat because you only have the one volume, so the pickup balance is preset. So that affects how I play, and for that reason I will always have a Les Paul. And possibly an SG if somebody's willing to donate, what is this, 15 grand for this one? Anyway, Jack from Guitar Showcase coming at you on Tully Guitars. Thanks for paying attention.